Hopefully, I'm back. We're having problems with the Wi-Fi at the moment, so apologies for that. But we can have part one, and part two of this. Okay, so hopefully some of you can join me again. You'll see the first part one cropping up in the stream of the group. But anyway, I'm following up now. These things are sent to test us, are they not? So why is it important to name emotions? Well, it gives us an insight as to what's going on the inside of us. It helps us to understand those thought processes and the body sensations that accompany them. So therefore, it helps us to be a detached observer, really, of what's going on in our own heads. And when we start to do this more often, it helps us to feel like we're more in control. And essentially, that helps us to feel safer. So in the long run, this is what we're all trying to feel, think and feel all the time, is kind of being productive, being safe, and in control, essentially. So it's only when we're uncertain and we're getting these thoughts that are coming out of nowhere and it's worrying us, that we start to feel like we're out of control, of course. So when you note and you name your emotions, your thoughts, and your feelings, helps you to observe them. Take a step back and see where they're at and why they're coming. So, as I was giving an example before of, when you are noticing that you're caught in that rumination of thought, it helps us to, if you can, name it by saying, "Oh, I see you. I see where I've gone. I notice that I'm thinking about this." And when you do that, you can start to recognize the feelings that accompany those thoughts. I recognize that because I'm thinking this, I'm feeling this. And when you start to observe your thoughts in that way, in a non-judgmental way, as non-judgmental as you can, it helps you then to take more of a sort of problem-solving approach to it, which again is linked into feeling more in control. So it helps us to recognize the emotions, and it gives us some emotional freedom from it. What it also does is it triggers a response in our amygdala, which is our danger dial, that is reduced in terms of the stress response. So it is less likely to trigger an overly stressful response in the body when you're going into that fight, flight, or freeze mode. Okay, so you're far less likely to be reactive. If you use a gentle tone with yourself when you are noting, when you're naming your emotions, it also is really tremendous in terms of how you then continue to think about yourself and your thoughts and your abilities. So if you use a tone with yourself that you would use with a friend, for instance, it helps you to, again, feel like you're a detached observer of what's going on rather than diving in and absorbing with it. Okay? So rather than fusing with it, you're diffusing. So, for example, as a mother, you could say, this is a classic example, tea time in my house, I've got 4 hungry boys, they're chomping at the bit, winding each other up, I'm trying to get the food cooked and on the table, the noise levels are going up, and one of them clobbers the other one. Totally throws me from what I'm trying to do, and it's a big trigger for me often. In those moments, if I was just to bottle it up, then my feelings and the resulting thoughts would become out of control, and the anger as a result of feeling out of control and not being able to manage the noise in the room and the fact that my children are being violent to each other would result in me often exploding. Yeah? And I'm sure we've all been there. What I tend to do, and I've worked that mindfulness muscle for years now, and it really, really does need a bit of practice, but after a while, you really notice the difference. It's like any other muscle, you've got to work it, but it does help. So I start to note and I name how I'm feeling. So I explain, I say out loud, Mummy is feeling angry right now. Now, to some of you, that might think, oh, that's a bit weird, why is she talking in the third person? But it helps me to detach. Rather than it's all about me, it's actually about Mummy, my role in that moment. Mummy is feeling angry right now because you're being loud, because you've just hurt each other, and etc., etc., etc. It helps my children to understand my emotional response, to realize that they have gone beyond the limits, and it reins them in. It brings us all into the present moment. So I have noted, okay, I've seen where my thoughts have gone and my feelings, and I've named them. I've said them out loud. I've verbalized them, and suddenly everything is feeling a little bit more in control and a little bit more normalized, less stressed, because I've said that. So what helps is by naming, it helps to improve our emotional wiring, believe it or not. And it does actually help us to be more rational minded. It helps us because it lowers the stress response. It helps us to relax a little more into it, okay? So you may still be feeling quite wound up, but by naming it, it gives you more choice in your response. So even if you said, I notice that I am angry right now, I'm feeling anger, I'm feeling sad, I am feeling tearful, I'm feeling lonely. When you name it, it's out there, and then we can do something about it. So for my children in those moments, it really helps with their emotional understanding. I am modeling a positive emotional reaction, even though I'm saying I'm angry. It's helping them and their wiring to manage their emotional responses as well. And if I say it in a gentle way, Mummy's feeling angry, I need to be kind to myself in that moment. It helps me to be more tolerating. And it also helps me to be more accepting of those difficult emotions that are arising. It helps to normalize them. Of course, I'm feeling angry. My children are making a lot of noise. They're being disrespectful to me, trying to get the food on the table. They're fighting with each other and hurting each other. I have every reason to feel angry. So I'm justifying it by saying it out loud. This is Mummy's emotion right now. We need to fix this. And that is a positive way of dealing with it. So it also helps us to reframe those moments of those strong, difficult emotions when they crop up. So thinking about that, noting, naming, helping us to diffuse, step back, be more in control, a detached observer to the experiences that we are having in that moment. So even if it is not from an external source, but it's something that is happening to you as a result of your thought processes, like the example I used before, when I'm in the shower and suddenly, all of a sudden, I have memories from my childhood cropping up, triggers of being left alone at boarding school or something. Suddenly I'm like, where did that come from? It's like, okay, I noticed that my mind has gone here, and I step back and I observe, and I notice the feelings that are coming in my body as a result of the thought processes that I'm having, and it helps me to detach from what may, if I had allowed it to carry on, become a very difficult emotional response. Okay, so I hope that has helped in some way for you, especially if you're pregnant and you're coming up with a lot of uncertainty, and also if you are new parents or parents in the early years. helping you to deal also with your children's emotions and to understand those emotional responses that they have, and being able to sit with that a little more, perhaps be less reactive, and try to be more of a problem solver, step back, see what happens as a result of that. Okay. You know that I'm here for you. Please do get in touch if you need to. I'm running one-to-one sessions online. I have some group one-day hypnobirthing monthly sessions that I'm running as well. They are they're really wonderful ways to kind of tap into learning some great helpful ways to stay calm and relaxed in pregnancy, obviously manage your labour, your birth, and into the postpartum period. So I am so passionate at helping parents, whether parents to be or new parents, or any parents, to find their emotional and mental balance. It's so important for us that we do, as it makes all the difference to our children and how they grow and who they become as and when they're older. I mean, we don't have control over that, but we can show them ways how to manage it. And never was there more an important time as now, when we are in uncertain times, that we can practice this. We can put all of this into practice. So if you need a little hand holding and you need me to talk you through it, walk you through it, just hold some space for you to feel heard non-judgmentally, then I'm here for you. Okay, so get in touch if you need to. Do tell your friends about the Beyond Birth Guide. I have to be honest, I'm struggling to get it out there. Marketing is not my forte, and I am just a little one-man band trying to put the message out there and to help more people. So I would really appreciate it if you would spread the message, pass it on to people. At the moment, it is just £20. So you get a whole lot of bang for your buck. Okay, take care, loves. Bye for now.